Hi kids, Mr. Wenstrom here. It's story time. Each weeknight at 7 p.m. I will be reading a new story. Tonight's story is called Willow, and it's written by Denise Brennan-Nelson and Rosemarie Brennan. Even on the sunniest days, Miss Hawthorne's art room was cold and dark. Everything was in its place. There wasn't a single broken crayon in the bunch. The students sat in rows, silent and still, like eggs in a carton, except for Willow. Rosy-cheeked Willow twisted around in her seat to look out the window. Face forward, young lady. Miss Hawthorne's icy blue eyes glared at Willow. Willow shivered. Miss Hawthorne's moods were as dark as her clothing. One day in September, Miss Hawthorne handed out papers, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to make pictures of a tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks and round green tops. Everyone except Willow. Who ever heard of a pink tree? Miss Hawthorne asked with a frown. That's what I saw when I closed my eyes, said Willow. A few students giggled. Sam snorted. Pink stinks. The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school. In it was a picture of a flamingo pink tree painted by a famous artist. Look, Willow pointed, giving Miss Hawthorne her most magical smile. Miss Hawthorne glanced at the picture, then turned away with a scowl. Horrid little girl, she muttered as Willow skipped off. In October, Miss Hawthorne passed out papers, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to paint pictures of an apple tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks, round green tops, and red apples. Everyone except Willow. Miss Hawthorne pointed with a long bony finger. Look at the mess you've made. And there is no such thing as a blue apple. But that's what I saw when I closed my eyes, said Willow. Some of the students giggled. Sam laughed especially hard. Yeah, who ever heard of a blue apple? The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school. She showed Miss Hawthorne a picture of a tree with blue apples. Then she reached into her backpack and took out a blue apple. This is for you, she said, handing it to Miss Hawthorne. Miss Hawthorne's face turned crimson red. Horrid little girl, she muttered as Willow skipped off. Autumn flew past. Willow always seemed to be in trouble in Miss Hawthorne's class. Stop daydreaming, Willow. You broke another crayon, Willow? Willow, put that book away. Most of all, Willow got into trouble for not painting things the way Miss Hawthorne wanted her to. The day before winter vacation began, students brought presents to their teachers. No one brought a present for Miss Hawthorne, except Willow. Miss Hawthorne stood at the window watching Willow and the other students board their buses. She wasn't in any hurry to leave. No one was waiting for her. Miss Hawthorne walked to her desk. She was surprised to see a gift. No one had ever given her a gift. To Miss Hawthorne, my art teacher, from Willow. Miss Hawthorne slowly unwrapped the package. Nestled in a bed of tissue paper was Willow's well-loved art book. Miss Hawthorne sat, holding the book for a long time. It was dark outside when she walked to the cabinet where the art supplies were kept, locked away. Miss Hawthorne filled her arms with paintbrushes, paints, colored pencils, and a sketch pad and carried them all to her desk. She flipped open the sketch pad and stared down at the blank page. Finally, Miss Hawthorne picked up a colored pencil. For the first time in her life, Miss Hawthorne doodled. Outside, the wind howled. Trees creaked and strained and broke where they could not bend. Snowflakes swirled upward. The lights flickered off. Miss Hawthorne sat in the darkness. When the lights came back on, Miss Hawthorne's fingers found the wet paint and spread it across the page. The school custodian poked his head into the classroom. He stopped, astonished at what he saw. Across town, Willow stood at her bedroom window, peering at the soft, fat snowflakes through her spyglass. After a while, she climbed into bed and fell asleep, wondering if Miss Hawthorne liked her present. When the students returned to school in January, everything was the same as always, except the art room. With wide eyes and open mouth, the students stood rooted in the doorway. Willow was the first to step inside. Behind a graceful willow tree, covered in paint from head to toe, a woman was standing. "Do you know where Miss Hawthorne is?" Willow asked. When the woman turned around, the students gasped. "Miss Hawthorne?" asked Willow. "Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Willow," Miss Hawthorne said. "Grab the paintbrushes. I need your help." Delighted, the students did as they were asked. And this time, everyone painted just the way they wanted. Especially Willow. Sounds like Willow taught Miss Hawthorne how to use her imagination and color outside the lines. I hope you enjoyed tonight's story of Willow by Denise, Brennan-Nelson, and Rosemarie Brennan. And I hope you'll tune in every weeknight at 7 p.m. for our story time. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, great things happen when we read.